Hi and welcome to this channel. My name is Vivek Singh and I have 10 plus year of experience working in Active Directory. So in this recording session, I would be, touching a bit of Active Directory concepts. And after this recording session, I would be recording this session again for the other concept of the Active Directory. So this recording session would be a kind of introduction, uh, the overall introductions we are going to what we are going to cover in the future, and of course, a little bit about the concepts of Active Directory as well. So let's begin then. Yeah, thank you very much for coming to this channel. I really appreciate that you're here to just watch this recording session. So I would be giving you a kind of a word or guarantee that after completely watching all the sessions of this channel, you would be in a position where you can say like, hey, uh, if I am alone in the organization and there is something happened with the Active Directory, so you would not be afraid of doing that. I'm sure after watched all the recording session, you would be in that position where you would be able to do troubleshoot anything alone as and when required. Okay, but always make just keep in mind, like, never stop your learning, because I'm also a kind of learner, though I have a very good experience working in different organization in the world, but still I'm learning, because Active Directory is a vast technology. You can think of like this way, like in all of the in every organization nowadays, they use their hybrid environment, but they still have the Active Directory in the environment, and there is a huge dependency on the authentication, Kerberos authentication, or its NTLM authentication. Because in coming time, definitely all of the organization would be moving towards Azure, because all of the in my personal experience, I've seen many clients who are having the hybrid environment. But still, if you talk about some bank in US and some other part of the world, they are still concerned about the security that Azure provide. Okay, and that is why they are still using the on-premises data center to manage everything. So later or sooner, they would definitely be coming to the Azure, because uh, they won't be left out with any option after that, right? In coming 5 to 6 years. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's come to the point. Let's discuss about the Active Directory. So before discussing Active Directory, I would like to tell you about the structure I would be following throughout the session. So in coming recording session, so this is the first Active Directory series session that I'm recording right now. So how it would be, how it looks like. So let me draw this triangle, because it's a great representation of the Active Directory, and whenever we draw the Active Directory, we use this triangle symbol just for kind of FYI for you guys. All right, so in Active Directory, so we called ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services. All right, so what is Active Directory Domain Services, by the way? So I'm sorry. Let's do one thing. Let's talk about, because I started to tell you the structure. So let me talk about the structure a little bit, and then we'll dig into this Active Directory concepts. So structure would be like, initially in the recording, I would be covering the concepts. I mean the theory part. Suppose I'm discussing about the authentication. Suppose I'm talking about the authentication or explaining about the authentication. So in the beginning, I would be just, in the beginning of video, I would be just explaining everything about authentication, followed by the lab. But lab would be in the end of the theory. So if you have any question, any sort of question in any point in time while explaining the concept, uh, you just I would encourage you to put that comment in the put that into the comment so that I could, as and when I get time to, review the comment. I will review those comment and put or mention the appropriate answer for you guys. So I'm sure that after the theory, if you have any doubt, that doubt will be clear in the lab section. I mean the lab part, which I would be covering in the next session. But yes, uh, even though the even though the concepts or lab, if you still have any doubt, I'm sure that you would be having a very good doubt, and that is a representation or a sign of the growth mindset, right, guys? You must be knowing, like, there is a growth mindset and there is a, uh, you know uh, we always should have a growth mindset if we wanted to gain something, if we wanted to win that position, uh, you know based upon whatever the goals you have. So let's talk about the Active Directory, guys. So what is Active Directory, by the way? So Active Directory is a Microsoft technology that manage the users, groups, computers. If I would say, if we wanted to say that in collectively, then I would say object. It manages the object in the network. And also this Active Directory has one feature called group policy, which would be helping you to secure your environment, put the different type of restriction in the environment, and also uh, you know also you, I mean, see, like if you wanted to narrow down, if you wanted to give a limited access, earlier it was not possible before the Active Directory. So you can have the privilege based upon the role in Active Directory. So it's very important. I would say it's very important for each and every administrator to having a must knowledge in Active Directory, because it's very vital and it's very vast as well. So let me open that in. I saved somewhere, guys. Okay. So let me cover that topic concept over here. I'm sorry. So I was doing the practice in Azure AD before. So the things are moving very rapidly, right, on the Azure. So it is a very important you to understand. I would be, covering the Azure session as well in the separate video. So here, let's read out the Active Directory. What is Active Directory here? Though I tried explaining that in very simple word, in very simple terms, but let me read out this for you so that you would be having a better understanding. Like if you go for the interview, you should have a very technical, very segregated words when you speak. So let me read out this for you guys. So Active Directory simplifies life for administrator and end user while enhancing security for the organization. Administrator enjoys centralized user rights management as well as centralized control over the computer and user configurations through the AD group policy feature. User can authenticate once they seamlessly access any resources in the domain for which they are authorized. Single sign-on plus files are stored in a central repository where they can be shared with other users to ease collaboration and backed up properly by IT team to ensure business continuity. So you can think of like how and what are the variety of feature is Active Directory provided, and that is why this technology is still sustained in the organization, because nobody wants to directly move to the Azure directly. They all are just testing a kind of test that they are doing by putting the hybrid environment so that they can have a better understanding, like later soon if you wanted to they wanted to move completely on Azure, then what will be the consequences, what will be the advantage, or what will be the disadvantage for that particular technology. And that is why they are just having the hybrid environment. Because, and there is one other reason as well, why the they are, every organization preferring the hybrid environment. Because if we talk about the Microsoft O365, so let me open the drawing MS Paint over here so that you can understand that better. So suppose this is your on-premises Active Directory. This is on-prem Active Directory, and this is your one second. Let me pick the crowd. This is Azure AD that you have for identity and access management. Azure AD. Oh, sorry guys. Azure AD, and you have O365. Suppose you have O365. 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 So, what Microsoft does is, uh, you know, if you wanted to use the, or if you would like to use the O365 subscription or service for the mailing purposes, correct? So, if you wanted to use O365 in the for the user mailbox, because O365 provides many feature in it, right? Like you will get a OneDrive subscription along with the mailboxes, and of course the storage capacity would be 100 GB, or it could be more than that as well, depending upon the subscription you have. But there is a pre, I would say prerequisite. There is a prerequisite that you must have Azure AD in the environment. When I'm saying Azure AD in the environment means you should have the Azure AD tenant created in the Azure, and you should have Azure AD in place. And if you have Azure AD in place, and that is when you would be able to log into O365. So as and there is a reason behind it. There is a big reason behind it, that why Microsoft is asking you to have Azure AD if you wanted to have O365 access for the users, because O365 uses the modern authentication protocol, but in on-premises AD environment, on-premise AD only support Kerberos and NTLM authentication, auth. And that is why Microsoft told organization, or uh, uh, share that kind of guidance for everybody, so that they create the Azure tenant first, and then they can buy for the O365, so that there would not be any problem in order to authenticate user on the O365 cloud. So I would be covering this Azure AD part, and of course a bit of O365, because I'm not the expert of O365. I would be helping you throughout the modern authentication protocol, like SAML, OpenID Connect, and Auth. So these are the modern authentication protocol that I would be covering. But mainly we are here to discuss about the Active Directory. So in Active Directory full flashed, I would be covering Kerberos and NTLM authentication, guys. So in this video, I think for the start, it will be more sufficient. And in the next video, I would be covering the Active Directory component, like the component that Active Directory that we have in Active Directory, the component that we have in Active Directory. Like in Active Directory uses the two different component, like physical, we have physical component and logical component. So a component is not the appropriate word, but I would say a structure. So it's just Active Directory contain two different type of structure, like logical structure and physical structure. So I would be covering the logical and physical structure both, with explaining all the component which comes under these two structures. Thank you very much, guys, and hope if you're here in this channel, I would request you to please go ahead and subscribe this channel so that as and when I upload any new video, and you would be getting that video notification immediately. And I would encourage, and trust me guys, if you trust to myself, right, I would be definitely doing something different for you. So I have other platform as well. I have seen that by myself, like in plural side of Udemy. I'm not saying that they are not explaining well. I mean, their author or the tutor or the mentor, they are not explaining everything, every concept well. But there are few part which they are not covering, where they are very basic overview. Okay, they are just giving a very basic overview. But in this recording session, it is just a free kind of platform for you guys to come and watch the videos. And I'm sure what I mean, the things which you will learn over here, you won't be getting anywhere in the world. Trust me. Thank you, everybody. And once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, irrespective of which part from of the world you're from. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye. Thank you. Take care, guys.